Hello Gemini, welcome to your February 2024 reading. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. This is going to give you everything you need to be ready for this month ahead. And as always, you can use this for sun, rising, and moon sign. Stick around until the end because we'll actually go a little bit deeper into each of those categories. First things first, let's talk about what came through in dreams and meditation this morning. The first message was to come out of your shell or to actually just sort of let go of something. So the particular image that I saw was this cute little crab crawling out of a luggage bag, which represented already movement, travel, some new destination coming forth, but there was a little bit of an element of something from the past. And crabs are really interesting because in order to grow, they have to go through a process called molting, where they kind of pull themselves out of that old shell. And the combination of luggage and, an animal that has the ability to shed its skin represents two things. One could be this upcoming move or journey, but the luggage itself, it was empty. I saw that someone had unpacked. So this is also about releasing old baggage from your past. And that also can be represented by letting go of, a shell or a skin or protection. Now, some of you may be feeling like you're stepping into something where there's a lot of room to grow, but you may be questioning your potential. The crab came through to let you know that you are going to grow into a new role, a new opportunity, a new relationship. Whatever this newness is that is represented by this symbol, you've got this. Let's move on to the second dream here, which was all about taking an idea and bringing it into the physical realm through a simple act of writing. So some of you may have a journaling practice. Some of you may be really kind of engaged with vision boards or you just like to sketch things out before you get into something. This is a note from Spirit for those of you that this resonates with, that this is exactly what you should be doing right now. We'll take it a step further. Some of you that are entrepreneurs or are looking for funding or some sort of vote of confidence from someone, if you can get this proposal or idea onto paper, I saw someone signing on the dotted line. I think you're very close to something being ready, and it's just a matter of taking that step and really putting yourself out there. So coming out of your shell, as we just talked about, is playing into this one. Ace of Swords is about speaking, acting, writing, somehow bringing this into the physical world. Each of you will have a method or a medium that's most comfortable. I was shown writing, but there are many different ways to do this. So now is the time. And if you're looking for a job, or if you're looking for some news or some sort of a phone call or something of that nature, it feels like the message is incoming, okay? So I'm very much heartened by this, and I think the main thing here is to trust in your idea and your vision and share it. The time is now. Speaking of which, let's take a look at the cards and see what else is coming through in February for you, Gemini. All right, as I said earlier, you can use this for sun, rising, and moon. We'll also go into greater depth on all three at the end. You can also watch all of your readings. I do encourage sun, rising, moon, even Venus there, because it will help you get a full picture for what's coming through. All right, let's focus on the messages here. There we have the Hermit, which is really interesting. I'm going to hold back on too much commentary unless I see a synchronicity. All right, folks, let's begin first with your catalyst card. You received the birds, and they are in reverse here. But these three birds remind me a lot of the Three of Cups. So a reverse Three of Cups is very close to what we see with the Hermit energy, also about coming out of your shell. So sometimes what happens with Three of Cups, it's typically very social. When reversed, it can be this sort of hesitation to put yourself out there, wanting to sort of just keep your energy contained, etc. So one thing that we're getting here is basically a compliment and a connection to that earlier message saying it's time to come out of your shell. Same thing with this. It's time to come out of your shell. So that's message number one. The other thing is just to avoid gossip. It's very interesting because I got an almost identical message for Taurus. So even though we're out of a Mercury retrograde, that doesn't mean that we still shouldn't be mindful of communication. I think the key thing that I was talking about to that sign, and it really does, connect to you as well, is make sure that you're always validating the source of the information. And if someone is saying something, that it truly is factual. Otherwise, it's better just to tune that out and focus on what you know and what you trust. And if there is any group or person in your life that just doesn't want to be inclusive and welcome you in, sometimes that's a blessing because right from the beginning, if that person's in your court or not. You don't want a fair weather friend. You want someone that's going to be there through thick and thin. So this is really encouraging you to trust yourself, to brush any of that sort of energy off, focus on being present, putting yourself out there, having some fun. The other thing with the Three of Cups would be gratitude, okay? Birds, of course, now we're going to go specifically into what we see on the card. Use their voice to communicate, and one of your keys to success this month is your communication, both written and verbal. So don't underestimate the importance of it. Really take a moment to formulate your thoughts before you feel like you have to share them or whatever. I'm all for that preparation. It's going to pay off in the long run. All right, let's dig into the Celtic Cross now and see what's coming through. The initial challenge that sets off the month here is basically wanting or needing a little bit more and knowing that you deserve it, but it is difficult sometimes to either articulate what your need is or to release something that just isn't enough. And again, it could be a person, it could be a job, it could be anything in your life, but there's something where it just feels like you're putting in a lot of effort and you're not getting a lot back. And it's good to know this. The question as the month begins is, what are you going to basically do to articulate or somehow deal with that initial lack? The rest of the month, we see a lot of movement, but this is the challenge initially. Four of Pentacles can be a scarcity mentality as well. So if you're not kind of holding on to something or whatever, you may also just be inadvertently, like without giving it a lot of thought, just limiting potential, thinking, well, this is probably as good as it gets. Are you sure? Is there something else that you want to explore? Keep an open heart, keep an open mind. This is a time to expand, to explore, and not to accept less than what you deserve, and not to put a cap on what the universe can offer you. And so that's a pretty profound thing, but that's the first message. Crossing this card, we have the lovely Queen of Cups. She's coming through, possibly enticing you with something that you really want. It could be love. It could be some sort of exciting job opportunity, or maybe for the first time in a while, you're kind of opening your heart a bit and thinking, I don't know if I want to do this, but I really want to do that. And that is such a lovely, she's giving you the key to overcoming the Four of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles, he's protecting his heart. She's coming through saying, no, open your heart, put it out there. It's the honesty, the vulnerability, all of that, the creativity, that really is what's going to pull people in. So be yourself and go for what this represents. There could be a lovely water sign coming into your life as well. So this is a great time for love and creativity. Right off the bat, I can see that. And you, especially those longtime watchers, I don't talk about love unless it comes into the spread or unless we're in that part of the forecast. So it's here at the beginning, which is good. And if you're already in a loving relationship, this is just a great networking card. And like I said, a great creative card. All right, let's pause for a moment and just kind of like take it all in. Usually I do that at the beginning, but I feel like doing it right now. So there's been a big change. It feels like it's already set in. We'll talk more about this in a second. One of the great things that could be happening is an unexpected partnership, friendship, or love interest coming into your life. This is why the crab came through and it was saying, get out of your shell. And maybe it's a Cancer. I saw the crab. So there could be a Cancer coming in because we have a water sign. We have a, symbol for love here, the Four of Wands. And it looks good, folks, okay? So definitely network and get out there. We do see growth when it comes to your finances. We have the King of Pentacles in the environment. We have acceptance of change is a big thing that's coming through here. And now let's just take it card by card. But those were the themes: new love, new partnership, changes in finance, and acceptance. All right. Deep past, the Tower. Since it's in the deep past, it feels like you've been going through this for a moment. The Tower can be something that takes a while to set in. So let's say you got married, because some of you, I see relationships being a really big part of this. Adjusting to being with someone after not being with someone for a while, that can be a Tower. Moving in with someone, it can be discombobulating, that can be a Tower. And even just having someone out of the blue connect with you and say, hey, I'm interested. All of these things can take what's predictable, the Hermit, and shake it up a little bit. So many of you are coming out of that feeling of being alone or not recognized, and the universe is saying, pow, here we go. There's a lot coming through now. And if you were in a relationship, because we can almost see it here with the two people here, that was kind of connected to a Tower energy, just someone who you couldn't rely on or couldn't trust. The good news, folks, is right here we see something that is the antithesis, or in other words, the opposite of that. The Four of Wands is someone who's very, very dependable. This is someone who is looking for a solid relationship. You have one another's backs. And notice here that we also see like these graduation caps on each person. You guys have gone through a lot to get to this moment in time, and it's worth this moment of celebration. The Four of Wands can also be something that's earned, like we see here. You've worked hard to create a firm foundation, and because you've done that, someone comes in and recognizes that. No longer are you in the shadows. People see what you have. I really love this Hermit because you can see the star nice and clear. The Hermit always holds that lantern, which holds the star, which is ultimately something that the Hermit can evolve into. And yes, if there is something that is forged this month, a relationship, it could be something that has the potential to stick around. Three of Cups is dating and getting out there and basically just socializing. So it's worth it, folks. It's worth coming out of your shell this month for sure. Let's see what's going on in your headspace. And in the crowning position, we have the Seven of Wands. This is a highly capable card. Anything you set your mind to, you can do with the Seven of Wands. It's hardworking too. It's not necessarily the most effective. Usually you can be smarter about how you're allocating time, energy, and resources, even though we're looking at wands here, not pentacles. But it's true. It's about pushing back. You can even see her getting ready to say no. Also, it's a defensive stance. So some of you may feel like, I'm ready to defend myself. By the way, this could be for some of you a thesis, because I'm looking at that, cap and gown. So this is good. You're ready. So keep up with the preparation. I saw writing. This makes sense for some of you. Whatever it is, get behind it. And if somebody tries to poke a hole in the idea and say, are you sure? They're not always like not believing in you. They just want to hear your certainty. So I remember this from back when I used to work in, art direction and production and design and all of that. You would have to pitch your ideas to like executives. And even if they were behind it, they wanted to make sure that you had done the research and they wanted to hear the certainty. So I'm getting a little bit of that with the Seven of Wands. Get certain, then defend your idea, and people will feel the authenticity of that certainty, and they're going to be more likely to say yes. Here's the cool thing. It feels like in this situation that I just talked about, it's already been decided. It's just about you showing up, showing that you did the research, and landing on your feet. Okay, there's some other things here to talk about with judgment. Judgment in reverse can represent something that may be obvious to everybody but you. And also it may already be signed, sealed, and delivered, but because it's such an adjustment for you, you're thinking like, is this real? This is real, folks. So if it's positive and it's really good, by the way, we have an angel on this card, just like we would with the lovers, then it's okay. You're being protected. You're being guided. Remember I said there are some things here where you may disbelieve your own ability to step in and grow into something bigger. Well, that's why the crab has to shed its old shell, because otherwise the skin can't expand. So it grows a larger one and then it grows into that one. So some of you are getting into that kind of growth situation. So a job with a title that's higher than you think, a relationship with someone who you really admire. And in both situations, you may wonder, do I have what it takes? The cards are indicating yes, but the certainty needs to be there. So be certain in your capacity. I am, the cards are. All you have to do is kind of line up with that as well. This is also a way to deal with stress in your life. So stress is a reaction to something that's happening in the environment, oftentimes out of our control. Judgment in particular is something that someone else has decided. In a court of law, it's the judge or the jury or both. In other situations, it can just be a person who has made a left or right turn in their life. You don't necessarily have a say in it. All you can do is either accept it or not, but then you have to move forward. So the question is not how can you change this person or this thing that happened? It's what are you going to do with your life next? So that's the focus. Bring it back to you and what you want to do next, because something has already been taken off the page or off the table, and you don't have to worry about it. It's done. That's what I get with that. It's done. Now what? And let's look in the cards since we're taking a look here. Well, in the environment, we see you asking for something or someone coming in and possibly offering something. But first things first, let's see how they're viewing you. And it's actually pretty good, folks. 10 of Cups. So you've got 3 great cards for love. The crossing card at the center, Queen of Cups. We have a lovely foundational card for relationships and marriage, the 4 of Wands. And now we have one of the ultimate partnership cards, the 10 of Cups. It's family, it's friends, it's love. So people look at you and they think, I feel like you're family or you're a friend or you're the one I'm looking for. That's a good thing, folks. So you actually have that high frequency, high vibe, magnetic energy. Lean into it. And definitely this month, put yourself in these public situations, whether it's a party, a work gathering, a seminar, something where you're going to be able to bump into other people, because there are too many positive cards here with relationships here. So Queen of Cups, 4 of Wands, 10 of Cups. It's time to get out there. And coming out of your shell, the Hermit in reverse. So we were talking a moment ago about the answer to this. You might not be able to control this, but you can control this. Here's what's incoming. King of Pentacles in reverse. Someone may be looking for assistance. So if you're looking for a job, it's good to see the King of Pentacles in reverse. It's someone who needs something from you. Make sure that they don't take more than they should. These 2 cards together, you can get a lot more than the 4 of Pentacles. We want to get you up to at least the 6 of Pentacles. So they may be like 20% off what they should be paying, offering, or etc. There's something that isn't quite there, but you can push, show that you've done your homework, and show that this is also you, because like attracts like. So show your worth, show that you're bold. If you're looking for work, etc., drive a hard bargain, okay? The other thing with the King of Pentacles, especially when it's reversed, is making sure that you're tending to everything. Look at all these vines that have overgrown, basically. So for some of you, there's some things in your life, financial, for instance, where you haven't maybe paid as much attention. It could be looking at quarterly bills. It could be looking at some of the debts or some of the investments that just haven't been dealt with for a while and saying, you know what, I possibly could have more if I just sort of like pay attention to some of this stuff. So the big opportunity this month is to get more on top of your finances, but also just all of your projects and things that you're working on. Remember, I also said there's a chance to work smarter. That's part of this. There's a lot going on around you. Sometimes the King of Pentacles gets complacent, so it's important to kind of reactivate, tend to all of that, and you might find that you have more resources or more opportunities than you give yourself credit for. Now, as a person in your life, as an energy in your life, this will take as much as it can get. So boss, friend, family member, it doesn't matter. there's someone around you, usually a little bit older, usually authority figure if we're looking at a king card, especially King of Pentacles, that will take and take and take. So you're going to need to have good boundaries. And good boundaries are something that the Seven of Wands excels at. So lean into the powerful word no, and keep saying it as much as necessary if someone isn't listening, okay? Looking at hopes, fears, and opportunity. I mean, by the way, can we just admire that there are 3 boss cards here? So you're stepping into boss energy, but especially as we look at this. The Hierophant calls things into order. And we can think of this, we see a pope here, but oftentimes this could be like a judge, a vice president, or president, anybody that's going to sit there and say, this is how it goes. So you're stepping into that boss energy, and it could just be, this is what I want, that kind of energy too. It's also about getting organized and using that structure to really, it's kind of like a foundation in your house or in your life. It's something that can hold up something even bigger. So it was sitting on a financial card. So really organizing your finances so that everything else is going, because financial freedom is freedom. So everything else will sit on that and can grow if you get that together. And that's basically what I see. Your outcome card is one of the best. We have the King of Wands here. This is really good for coming up with a new idea, for management overall, for getting your way if you need to, for getting people to listen to you. These are 2 really pushy, bossy cards, but that's okay, because sometimes you have to be bossy. And if there's something in your life that you really, really want to see come to fruition, this is the month. We have a little gecko in the corner. And what I like about different types of geckos and lizards and things, some of them can lose their tail and regrow it. So if you've had a moment where you've lost your balance, because that's what the tail helps you do, this is a chance to reclaim it, to establish it, and to really, kind of like breathe life into something. This would also be connected to like a dragon because of the element of fire. So this is your chance to really mold and shape and bring something into life. You have to articulate it. I'm looking quickly at all the cards. We have no swords. That's the missing thing. So that's why I pulled the ace. We need to sketch it up. We need to speak it or put it out there somehow into the world or create a prototype. The King of Wands can do that, actually very good at prototyping, but I also think having some sort of articulation, we'll see as we go into sun, rising, and moon messages if it comes through, but that's the one thing that's missing is communication. So you can work on that and that will help you out. Let's get into an expanded portion here where we go a little deeper into health, wealth, love, and destiny. We're going to start things off with the health message. And this was really cool. I already knew what I wanted to say when I saw this, but some of you are overreaching. You're spreading yourself too thin. When I think of an octopus, first of all, I think highly intelligent, but I can see the arms kind of like reaching in all directions. And that was the initial download that Spirit gave me, was be smart, because they are intelligent, about how you're using your time, your energy, and don't spread yourself too thin or overreach. And that's really what we've got with this. Say no to the things that don't matter. Push back on the things that are not worth your time. The octopus is a great escape artist. So we're looking at the energy of health. If there is a situation in your life and you feel trapped or that you just can't grow, this is about finding a way out. They can find their way out of aquariums. They can solve puzzles. They can sometimes even blend in using camouflage. They're really good at getting through a sticky situation. So you can make that work too. Also, when they reach out for something, they get it. Look at all those suction cups. So you have the potential this month to think yourself out of a tricky situation. You can get something and hold on to it if you need to. So don't worry about holding on to what you don't need. Reach for something that you do and know that you can get it. And ultimately, just don't stretch yourself too thin. Okay? Great message, a great image as well to kind of pull in for health. Let's also just now take a look at all the cards and see what additional health messages are showing up. So it feels like some of you have been through some change or transition that it really wasn't, what's the best word here? It wasn't suitable for just day-to-day life. There was something about this where you needed to change. And I feel like you're starting to accept and embrace whatever had to happen, and something did come to pass. So this can represent a wake-up call with health, specifically these two together. Close call. It can also be not beating yourself up for like taking a tumble if you tripped on something or broke a bone or whatever. It's just focusing now on moving forward. So you learned something, you survived something, you're wiser, smarter, etc. for that, but there's still a little bit of trauma, emotional trauma that you're working through, and that's one thing you can focus on. There could actually be a little bit of anxiety around being in social situations because of the Hermit and the Four of Wands, but I will just try to assuage that a little bit by saying we've got 3 favorable cards here that tell me that you're probably going to land this time, whatever it is that you need to do, and people are ready for that. They're even expecting it. Some of you might also be hiding. We'll talk more about this when we get into relationships, but hiding something about your life. And it's really just about coming out and sharing that and allowing friends and family to love and support you. It could be any number of things, but definitely picking up on that as well. This is also a decision to just live a more balanced and a more, I really do feel like it's more about finding balance in your life overall, because this is the opposite of balance, and this is deciding how to make it happen, and this is pushing back as necessary. Only thing you want to avoid right now is overindulgence, because the King of Pentacles definitely likes to overindulge, and the Ten of Cups is not a card of moderation, and they're together. So focus on that a little bit. I think that'll be key. And other than that, I like what I see, folks. It's a pretty decent month overall. Some of you have actually maybe taken up some exercise, and this is usually a strength training card. Just take it easy. Sometimes the Seven of Wands will extend or over push, and it's usually just a pulled muscle with this, but you want to be mindful of that as well. Okay, folks, let's move on to the next category, which is going to be your wealth. This is resources, life purpose, and career. And as we look at wealth here, trustworthy friends is what came through. Let's look at the card upright so I can read it. It says, "Thank you for surrounding me with people that I can trust and love," and that thanks is aimed towards the angels. So some of you are really working at manifesting that and bringing that in. If you don't trust someone, if they show up and they're gossipy, I think it's important. I was talking to Taurus about this. A great way to shut down gossip is basically if you're in the presence of it, just say, not only am I not comfortable with this, but you guys shouldn't be doing that, and just walk away. If you hear about it, go vet it out if you want to. You could just say, hey, I heard this. If it's true, first of all, I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm actually a little bit annoyed you didn't come to me first, because we can sort this out. What's going on? Be strong, be firm, express yourself clearly. You don't have to get emotional, but you should state what it is that you hold important here. And a lot of that is trust. And I know that for many of you, trust is something that is earned. And if it's something that falls away, you want to let people know that it's not easy to get that back. And it's important for them to kind of pay attention. All right, so that is in wealth. So the other thing here when we're looking at contracts is making sure that you trust who you work with, and that you trust whatever's on this paper that I saw some of you signing. So definitely ask if you don't know what's going on. Get a lawyer's feedback or sleep on something. Make sure that you trust yourself as well. Okay. Let's now break this down and look at just overarching themes when it comes to money and resources. We see instability or lack in the past. We see abundance and networking and organization and power in the future. So for some of you, it's just simply seeing that you're changing the narrative. I was talking to a friend the other day about that, and we can focus on past mistakes. Maybe you had an experience with a debt, or maybe you lost something or made a bad decision, and you can fixate on that and make that your story. Or you can make your new narrative the reset and saying, like, I've learned a lot. I'm working hard to address or to correct this, and I can't wait to see, kind of like what happens this year. I'm starting to develop a few new really exciting things. You can focus on potential. You get what I'm saying. So let's break this down now into 3 categories. For those of you that are working, those that are seeking employment, or those that are happily retired or not employed. All right, so if you are employed, some of you are not getting what you deserve. Plain and simple. This is less than what you should be earning, or for some of you, you're not getting recognized because this is a card of, again, kind of being in the dark, maybe not even getting enough information. And you just feel like, come on, I'm putting my heart into this, but I'm not getting a lot back. Fair enough. As I said earlier, you might need to just advocate and say, I need this. I've made a decision. And maybe some of you are going to actually, in order to do this, find something else. And it may be at that point for some of you, not everyone. But I think it's important to validate and speak up for whatever this is, whatever this lack is. And the best thing that you can do here is to use facts and figures to back it up so it's not emotional, and then let that person see if they'll do what's right, okay? Here's the good news, folks. Many of you have a really good reputation and support system. Four of Wands and 10 of Cups typically only come through when you're, likable, trustworthy, you've done the work. So I feel like you could also get support to make this happen. And there may be a better person to go to. Judgment in reverse means you may not be working with the decision maker. And if you're not, go up a notch and you could get what you want. You may be dealing with someone who just isn't doing their job, by the way. This happens sometimes. There could be a manager or a supervisor who just, they don't follow through. It is possible, but they don't know, or they're afraid to ask. So make sure that you've done that extra homework, and you might be surprised with what's possible. This card, I just got it, I have to share it, means the writing's on the wall. So if you have heard something, or maybe there was even sort of a memo that was sent out, trust in that as well, and just figure out what you're going to do about that. Again, you can't always change or control something when there's a new boss, a merger, or pending layoffs, but what you can do is decide, how are you going to land on your feet, okay? The good news this month, by the way, though, is we have a card of creativity, passion, and compassion. We have partnership and magnetic cards, and we do get a card here of high sort of value. So I do feel like you can get what you want, but you have to articulate it. Okay, let's reset this. For those of you that are looking for work, competition, this is what the Seven of Wands represents. So it's definitely a competitive moment. Some of you may have been maybe in a bunch of shorter jobs, or this can also represent seasonal work or contract work, and you're looking for something more stable. You need an inside track is what I'm getting here, because this can represent what's happening with your application. It's just sort of sitting in a pile. So if you can get straight to, some of you need to go to someone else, a different way, circumvent the current path a bit. That's going to be advantageous. Can you find work? Yes. I think the main thing here is to continue to network and talk to people that you know, because they may know someone that knows someone that's looking for something. So it's all about word of mouth, and it's all about who you know, not just what you know. Don't take something that is, sometimes we can't help it. We have to take a short-term job because it's there and there's nothing else. But when you're at the negotiation table, don't accept the first offer. Go back and forth a little bit. Just make sure there's room for negotiation here. That's what I'm seeing. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else. Some of you may just be tired of corporations. And I get that. That was something that I went through. There's options here. I see at least 2 or 3 options. One thing that I would say as I'm looking at this is to make sure that you're very clear on your vision, what it is you want, what it is that you seek. That's going to help you in basically landing something quicker. Okay. For those that are happily retired or not really focusing on work at the moment, this has been a common theme this month, but it looks like it's all about meeting new people. Maybe some of you now are spending more time with friends and family, because that's this. This can be your children or grandchildren. This can be your friends. This can just be meeting new people, because you may look at this card and think, I want that. Some of you are stepping into something brand new. Whenever we let go of something, it's shedding a skin, and you can do it at any age, by the way. This can be stepping from traditional employment into self-employment, or stepping from a traditional career to retirement and deciding to do something else. But you just have to let go of the past, and that's what this is basically reminding you. I think that the other thing here is not being afraid to try it again. Sometimes we just close off a chapter, and we'll be looking at love here in just a moment, but I'm definitely getting a vibe of, allowing yourself to be seen, not putting your projections out there before other people have a chance to decide, who you are. What sometimes we're so worried about acceptance that we just don't take the chance. And this is a month to really take a chance in all aspects of our life, including love. But I think that your journey isn't done here. There's something that you have to offer the world, and it's just a question of really what you want to do with that. Overall, pretty exciting energy here. One last thing, I can't kind of forget to talk about the singing quality here with the birds. So some of you may decide to do something more in the realm of like entertainment or art or singing, and I just wanted to mention that. Moving on to love and relationships here, we have ease and grace as the message. Easier said than done sometimes, but if you can bring that Zen energy forward, it's really powerful, actually. Sometimes people don't expect a lack of sort of emotional charge. When you just come through and say what you think and put it out there, then they can really digest that without feeling too much emotional intensity. So being at ease with yourself, and I think part of that was, I was talking about the confidence. You have to believe it before you say it. When you believe it, it's easier to do it, and you can do it without having to get too pushy or too defensive. So this is the focus. Try to be at peace if you can. And this reminds me a lot of the temperance angel, because in temperance, the angel takes 2 cups and balances it. It has a foot in the water, a foot on the land. And we have a very similar energy going on here, 1 foot in the air, 1 foot in the ground, but otherwise the balancing of the water is like that. So temperance is also about patience. Patience pays off. So give people time to meet you halfway. Don't push something. If someone else isn't feeling it or you're not feeling it, trust in that. That's going to save you a lot of time in the long run. All right, let's just take a quick look at all of the cards here. And we're going to break this down into 3 categories, focusing on those that are currently in a relationship, and then we'll look at other statuses after that. So if you're currently in a relationship, there could be a big change or shakeup here. For some of you, this could be proposal, because this is a sign. These are 2 cards of marriage. So if it's been a long-term relationship and you've been wondering and waiting when something could get more serious, this is the moment here when you guys are deciding if you're going to take it to the next level or not. So that's actually a good thing, because it lets you know where you're standing. These cards here portend good things. So it might be a good time to have that conversation. For some of you, there could also be an unexpected change, or again, something out of your control. This can be, for some of you, maybe loss of property. There could be someone that in your life that passed. There's a big change, and it's the 2 of you sorting that out, being there for one another. And again, there's a common theme here, strengthening the relationship, because we have 2 kings here. So one needs a little bit more, one can give a little bit more. And at the end of the day, that's going to create stability. Don't be afraid to talk to your partner about what it is that you're thinking about or going through. Sometimes the hermit keeps all of that to themselves. So that's also a call to action there. We also have the Queen of Cups here at the center, showing that compassion, empathy, and just being open-hearted and open-minded is going to be really, really important here. I do like that we have basically something that's already been decided, and if you can just open your heart to it, it feels like you could land in a good place. So the overarching energy is good, but it is about accepting change or dealing with change. And that's the big, I would say that's the sort of big idea when it comes to existing relationships. These 3 little birds kind of coming through as catalyst energy for existing relationships could be other people trying to weigh in. It could be a third party trying to come in and decide what's best for you, and you're going to push back on that because you know what's best, right? There's a lot of karmic energy between you and your partner, and it feels like this lifetime you're trying to just really be there, because in the past maybe something happened and you weren't able to go the distance. You have the chance to do it in this lifetime. Okay, shifting the page to those that are looking for love. I think the most important thing for you at this moment in time is to stabilize, like definitely I see some stabilization with finances. Get that sorted first. Also, when it comes to living situation, this can represent just having moved or just like relocating or feeling like something isn't stable there. So let's get the finances and the living situation where it needs to be, or the health where it needs to be. Then and only then should you sort of be opening up to putting more energy out there with meeting people. But as I said earlier, if you are looking for love, yes, you can find it. Possibly the challenge here is just the choices, because you have Queen of Cups, King of Pentacles, and King of Wands. Lots of different types of energy. When this happens, invariably it's because, well, first of all, you have a lovely card representing you, the Ten of Cups. So you can be discerning. But sometimes what's happening is when you're throwing the net out to sort of see what will come through, there's not enough clarity on what you're looking for. So be really clear, and you don't have to say yes to everyone or everything, and you don't have to accept the first option on the table. So be patient with yourself and with sort of like the pace with which things move. Because, by the way, this shows me a desire to want to be in this right now, fast. With having up to 3 options, we don't want to push away what might be the Goldilocks option. Give yourself a chance to date, to, really get to know people, to get to know yourself, and then it's just going to feel right. Patience, ease, grace. This is going to help you decide, folks. If you're sitting across the table, at a cafe and it's just easy and you can feel the spark and they can feel the spark and you don't have to force it, that's it. If you're constantly trying to get someone to answer your texts, or, you swiped in the same direction but there's crickets, that's not it. There should be ease and movement and mutual sparks. And if there isn't right now, it's because you're still letting the dust settle in something else in your life. But once you've focused on the internal work, it all starts to happen, okay? So take it easy, take your time, be patient. That patience and ease is going to be so key in not sort of settling for less than the best, okay? Let's move on to those that, so we did in a relationship, looking for love. If you're single and happy, or if you're just not sort of focusing on relationships at the moment, here's the freedom. You don't have to make anybody happy. The Judgment card in reverse is saying, I don't care what you think. And there's a freedom in that. For many of you, you may be deciding to invest in yourself, going back to school, training, or expanding yourself with a life experience that feels good. You're meeting a lot of new people in this moment in time. It doesn't have to be dating energy. This can just be, getting to know your neighbors, getting to know people that have similar interest as you. So networking and self-improvement, those are the main focal points. Some of you may decide to get a little bit more involved with church, faith-oriented or spiritual-oriented endeavors as well. The Hierophant is definitely connected to that. It all puts you in a position where you just feel more confidence. So I like that. This is going to help you in all aspects of your life. Moving on to destiny, we have self-worth. So this, my friends, might actually be the thing that could be holding some of you back that are looking for love, or that are looking for a breakthrough in work or finances, etc. It's getting to that state of knowing that you are worthy even before, or someone recognizes it, or even if they fail to have the capacity, the tools, or the imagination to see what you bring to the table. Know thyself. That's basically what this card is telling you. And guess what? Your outcome card was King of Wands. The self-worth card has a throne that looks a lot like his. You are worthy. This is the main message with these 2 cards. You are worthy, but are you ready? That's what Spirit's asking. And sometimes you have to create your own sort of, moment and your own path if someone else can't for you. So this is also an invitation to go in a new direction. This card would be connected to 5 of Pentacles in Tarot. I'll pull it while we're talking here. The 5 of Pentacles, I recently just did it as a daily card reading, but what happens sometimes is because something didn't work out, because someone didn't support us in the past, or even recent past, maybe a few weeks ago or something, it sits with us a bit. And we feel like, is that how it always is? No, it's not. That was just one person that lacked the time, the energy, the resources, the imagination, something. They weren't ready to see this sort of beautiful, regal energy that you have, okay? Very powerful and beautiful illustration as well. Let's move on to the sun, rising, and moon portion here, where you can get a little bit more insight into those parts of your chart. Okay, let's give the cards a shuffle. We'll see what Spirit has to say. Okay, sun is going to be 2. Rising and moon. Lots of pentacles, lots of worth. Nice piggybacking energy on this. Let's start first with sun sign messages. So the presenting energy is everything you're probably hoping for, the 10 of Pentacles. Nicely connected to this. Friends, family, love, but this is like marriage or wealth or really being able to create something sustainable that you can lean into. You have this potential this month, folks. This is really good when we're looking at your financial recovery or your financial growth and your ability to reach a larger audience. It's the tree of life. That's this symbol that we see overprinted, or the pattern, I should say, of all the pentacles. And you can see all the abundance, the same abundance that we see with like the King of Pentacles. What's beneath it? What's adjusting it? Fatigue, burnout, maybe even a lack of connection with what you're doing. When the Five of Wands comes through, if you look at this card, there are people that are competing for attention. They have overlapping energy or efforts. Nobody's really leading the charge. So if you can step forward and bring some order to the disorder, and be the kind of like Hierophant energy that we saw in Hopes, Fears, and Opportunities, then you may be able to land this 10 of Pentacles energy that we see here as well. But generally speaking, this is also saying if something is too much work, it's not worth it. We were talking about that mutual vibe. It should be something where both sides are bringing it, and then you're going to have a lot more at the end of the day rather than feeling exhausted. Okay, let's move on now from Sun to Rising. In Rising, we have slow and steady improvement. Seven of Pentacles is typically growth after a period of imbalance or challenge, and the key component to this is patience, and the octopus is coming through here. It's saying you don't have to push too much. It's getting there. Like any plant, it takes time to grow, to root, to reach its tentacles out there a little bit. And you can even see them here, those little vines. So everything in due time. What you want to be focusing on right now is not overspending, not overpromising, not overworking. Really just keeping everything in the Six of Pentacles energy, which is balance. And then preparing for Eight of Pentacles. That's putting it into writing. That's planning for the future. And that is also not doing something that's overtly risky without having calculated, if it's worth that opportunity. I hope that makes sense for you. Overall, this is slow and steady growth. Keep up with what you're doing. Don't rush. Don't compare yourself too much to others. And really be mindful of your how much you're putting into like credit cards or debt. This is a time to pull back on those things. Okay, moving on to moon sign messages. You just have a lovely Page of Pentacles in the upright position. This is someone who could be putting an offer in front of you and saying, are you on board? And this is indicating that you're worth it. So don't let insecurity get in the way of that or lack of self-worth. You say thank you, especially if the offer is good. If it's not, you push it back and say, we're close. This is what I was thinking. And that's a great way to negotiate. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be contentious, doesn't have to be argumentative. Just say, oh, I think you forgot about this, or how about this? Just put it out there. You might get what you're asking for. It's at least worth asking for more, because I think this month you can get it. Pages also are putting their focus on the energy of resources. So time, energy, and money. So it's getting to know that part of your life and really feeling like you can see here that they have a handle on it. Okay, great energy, great opportunities there. And I love that we got almost universally all pentacles, and it was like an answer to this, right? So speaking of answers, if you have a question that I haven't yet answered, we're going to get into the final question and final card for today. So put that question in your mind and let me shuffle the cards and we'll see what Spirit has to say. Pretty good reply. Nine of Wands. Don't give up. If we look at the card in the upright position, we can see someone who has pushed, who has gotten a lot done, and they're looking a little bit over their shoulder thinking, how much more do we have to do? What's going on? So one thing to do in this moment in time is simply to recalibrate and to take a moment to celebrate progress. And don't give up. It is a yes, comma, but there's a little bit more of a push to do. Likewise, this is a pushy card, much like the 10 of Wands can be pushy. So don't let someone else push or bully or convince you to do something that you don't feel good about. So boundaries are a common thread this month. Make sure that you're holding firm to your boundaries, to your beliefs, and standing strong is going to pay off. You will complete what you set your mind out to complete this month, so don't give up. All right? Beautiful energy. Thank you so much, Gemini, for allowing me to be here for you today and read through everything. I do hope you enjoyed this. If you did, do me a favor. Please hit that like and subscribe button and also opt into bell notifications. It's 100% free and it helps the channel grow. You can also give me a follow across social media. That way you'll never miss out if I do an impromptu reading or if there's any news and information. To show support, you can do it right here on YouTube by clicking join if you'd like to become a member. You can also do basically super stickers, super chat, or you can click the like button here on video posts like this. And these are great ways to give back. A quick reminder, I don't offer private readings and I don't use direct messages. So if anyone ever does that on social media, just block and report. Let me know about it as well. And I put out new videos, by the way, every Monday, Thursday, and Friday, unless there's a holiday or a previous announcement. I do a daily card read as well, and you can catch my Sunday live streams at 9:15 a.m. every single Sunday. I hope to see you there. That, my friends, is everything. Thank you so much for being the best part of what I'm able to do here on YouTube. Wouldn't be here without you, so I do appreciate your love, your support, and your presence. Take care. I'll see you soon. Have a great one.